Earlier this week, the Holy Synod, which is the body that runs the Church of Greece, came out in support of the Greek health authorities and the measures that they are promoting among the Greek people. That ranges from washing hands, wiping down surfaces for elderly and more vulnerable groups to remain indoors and to remain at home. And anybody who presents COVID-19 symptoms should go and see a doctor and avoid contact with any crowds. But it's their stance on the distribution of communion, which is rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. So the way that it works in a Greek Orthodox church ceremony, as you mentioned, was the parishioners line up in front of the priest, who has a chalice filled with wine, and he gives a sip of wine to each person with a spoon.
And it is the same spoon.
It is the same spoon being used throughout the congregation. So obviously that sort of flies in the face of these warnings that are being put out there. So if we were to look at this statement that was released by the church, it says that it will not stop serving communion in this way, insisting that it can't be a cause of disease transmission. The statement then reads that faithful of all ages know that coming to receive the Holy Communion, even in the midst of a pandemic, is both a practical affirmation of self-surrender to the living God and a potent manifestation of love, Bev.
Which is blind faith in a way, and quite stunning considering measures being taken around the world, including Italy.
That's right, but Italy obviously has a much higher rate of coronavirus cases and deaths. In Greece, as you mentioned, it was 89 cases and 0 deaths so far. But the Greek government has, of course, announced a number of measures to combat this, despite such a low number. They have announced that they will be closing educational facilities ranging from daycare centres to schools and universities. Sports fans have been prevented from going to any sporting events, including the soccer, and a number of flights to and from northern Italy have been cancelled. Now, this is expected to last for at least 2 weeks. But just going back to the communion aspect of it, medical groups are urging people not to use religion as an excuse to ignore these warnings that are being put out there. And in the Greek media, they're even suggesting the possibility of legal action being taken against the Greek church. Now, there has been quite a bit of reaction to this on the streets of Athens. Here's what a few people had to say.
Having faith is good, but it's not going to save you from the virus. It's contagious. I saw the announcement and I couldn't believe it.
It's a mistake. I'd prefer they use disposable spoons.
I believe that faith strengthens your immune system. If you really believe, you won't catch it.
Whoever believes in Christ need not fear anything. When you take the road of Christ, everything goes well.
Some rather different opinions. So what about in Australia, the Greek Orthodox Church there? Have they decided to take any precautions?
Well, I have sent a number of questions to the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of Australia, but unfortunately they've yet to respond to them. I did, however, speak to one priest earlier today who said that this is the way that it's been done for centuries, basically. And he's very... he doesn't believe that any Orthodox church throughout the world will be changing the way that they distribute communion. He's also unaware of any changes being discussed among the Archdiocese here. Now, the other thing that needs to be taken into account here is that next month is Greek Orthodox Easter, and this is a time when church numbers obviously go up quite a bit. Even casual Greek Orthodox worshippers go to church during this time. A lot of the people in those groups are elderly. They're around each other for quite a long period of time as well in these churches. And there's also a lot of kissing and touching of icons and idols throughout the church as well. So all these things need to be brought into account. But of course, that's still a month away, and there's no telling where the coronavirus crisis is going to go from here, not only in terms of how it will affect crowd numbers, but in terms of how it will affect cases in Greece, in Australia, and throughout the world.
Around the world. So it could change, in fact, the way that they are approaching things. Thanks for bringing us up to date on that, Manny.
Thank you, Bev.